So the biggest thing I saw people saying and realized once I started watching more of your kickflip videos, you definitely want to keep your shoulders straight, or at least in the same position as where you started. Because I did it exactly how you did it here, kind of throwing my front shoulder to the side, and you'll see this is what that looks like when you do that. The only reason you should be moving your shoulder in such a way is to do like a frontside 180, which is pretty much what your body is doing, but obviously you're trying to keep the board in front of you, and then it just kind of causes you to put your feet on the sides of the board instead of on it, really. Now, there's this really neat exercise that you can do for kickflips, and I stole this straight from a channel called Skate IQ. This guy is probably the best skateboarding teacher I've ever seen, frankly. And he has a little exercise for kickflips, where you do the kickflip, like you pop it and you kick it, and you just let the board kind of just float, right? Like, don't try to land on the board, just let it flip. And the goal is to sort of let the board hit the ground before you do. That way you know that you're getting the airtime that you need to actually finish the rotation and have the time to line it up correctly before slamming it down. And it'll help with keeping the board straight, because another thing that I saw, it just kind of goes off to the side, because when your trucks are so loose and you're turning and you're turning and turning, and then you try to flip it and correct it, it's obviously just getting misaligned. So doing that exercise and keeping the board straight the whole time, even if you don't land on it, is a good indicator that you're on the right path to kind of getting your own technique. Because there's a billion ways to do a kickflip. You can literally put your heel like on the right side of the board and still do a kickflip that way. It all comes down to what technique is most comfortable for you. For me personally, this is my foot setup for kickflips, but everyone's different, and also this is a pretty basic foot placement for a kickflip, right? So your front foot is going to be off the edge, obviously, because you're going to kick it and flip it, and it has to be on the side. But your back foot can't also be as far off the edge as your front foot, because that's when, like I said in my original comment, you're just turning left, and that's going to throw you off. So essentially, you're going to use your front foot for the flip, so you can keep that off the side of the board as much as you find comfortable, depending on how fast you want to flip the board and how much control you want to have. But your back foot is the one that kind of keeps you straight and is also responsible for the pop that you do. So, and how high you bring up that front foot is how high your pop is going to be. And that goes as well for the back foot. You pop first, and then when you bring that front foot up, you also have to bring your back up, because as you'll see in a lot of the kickflip clips that I've included in here, my back foot is coming up pretty darn high, maybe even higher than they really need to. But regardless, you want to bring those feet up to give your board not only room to flip, but room to come up with you. So let's go over the 3 big things that I think you should take from this. Number 1, tighten your trucks, please, for the love of God. You're turning like crazy and it's going to throw off your balance every time. You may prefer looser trucks, but it doesn't seem to be working for you. Number 2, keep your shoulders straight, or like I said, at the very least, in the same position as they were when you started the trick. I'm going to refer to Skate IQ again and say that if you've ever seen, if you look at any of his kickflip videos, or like his tips, his shoulders don't move like at all. I could learn from him. Obviously, he's a professional. I'm a nobody. But you'll see that his shoulders almost don't move, and they're always aligned with his skateboard. I'm not saying you have to be literally perfect, as the dude who did the first 1270 or 1260, whatever it was. But keep them straight. Don't try to move them too much, especially not out and to the left like you've been doing, because that'll turn your entire body. Number 3, pick your feet up. And do those exercises that I showed you, and maybe some others that you might find online. Because that board is only going as high as your feet are, And if I saw some of your kickflips where you were kind of leaning back and your back foot was still lower than your front, you're not going to get anywhere with that. I haven't seen your super early videos besides the ones where you're holding onto the bar and kickflipping. That's actually practice for keeping your shoulders aligned, which works great, even if you were reaching a little too far for the bar. I'd also recommend trying it in grass if you're afraid of like rolling and trying to land it straight only to fall on your face. Do it in grass. That's how we learned as kids, and how probably everyone learns, really, most people. Just doing stuff in grass, ollies, kickflips. And I guess as a bonus, I would say fundamentals, like ollies in your case, are extremely important. I've seen some of your ollies, and like how I mentioned earlier about your back foot kind of staying a little too low to the ground, it's the same case with your ollie. So pick that foot up. And that's pretty much it. I only really did this because I'm procrastinating on my own projects, so I hope you enjoyed this, or at the very least took something from it, and good luck on your journey.